Hi everyone, I hope you find these tips helpful for your next Amtrak trip. My first tip is to book in advance. When possible, I recommend trying to book your trip at least 3 months in advance. So let me give you an example. If right now I put in the dates for October 30th to go from Denver, Colorado to Emeryville, California, a roomette would be around $1,000. However, if I go in and make the trip dates for January 22nd, 23rd, then the roomette goes down to around $500. So for my second tip, it is to join the Amtrak Guest Reward program. This is Amtrak's program in which you can earn points that you can use toward train travel, buying gift cards to different restaurants and retail shops. There's other things that you can redeem the points for. Now, the way you earn them is by riding on Amtrak. So for every trip that you take, you will earn points for that trip. Another way to get points is to sign up for the Survey Points Club. Here you take surveys and can get anywhere from 5 to 50 points a survey. The other way is to get the Amtrak Guest Rewards credit card. You're not obligated to do that, but with the Amtrak Guest Rewards credit card, every time you spend on it, you will get anywhere from 1 to 3 points for every dollar that you spend. So tip number 3 is to check out Amtrak's BidUp program. So this program allows eligible tickets to put a bid in for an upgrade. So for example, I have a trip booked in a roomette, but I decided to put a bid in to upgrade to a bedroom. When you go in, it will give you a suggested bid that is what they considered a good bid, but you have the option to lower that bid. Now it will let you know whether it's a good bid, a fair bid, or poor bid. And what I did is I lowered it as far as I could down right before it told me my bid was a poor bid. It will usually let you know about 36 hours before your trip whether or not you got the upgrade. Now you do have to put your credit card information in, because if you do get the upgrade, if you win the bid, then they're going to charge your credit card right then. Tip 4 is to pack lightly. I usually take an overnight bag and an oversized purse. And one of the reasons why is because I usually have to fly part of the way to get to my starting point for the train trip. And I found that it's just easier and not have to worry about lugging luggage around. Amtrak does have a check bag service, but when I get to my destination, I just want to grab my bags and go. So tip 5 is I encourage you to take an activity to do while you're on the train. So for example, I have a book of puzzles that I take, and I like to work on it when I'm on the train. I've also taken cross-stitching with me on the train. Of course, you're going to spend a lot of time just looking out and taking pictures and videos of the scenery that passes by, but it's good to have just some little activities to do. So tip 6 is to personalize your room. So what I started doing is trying to make my room a little cozy, especially when you're going to be in it for 1 to 2 nights. So think of something you can do. You can take a picture of a loved one or a loved pet, and you can tape it up on the wall. There's all kinds of different things that you can do just to make your room a little cozy for that train trip. I just want to jump in here real quick and just ask you, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and please consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed the rest of the tips. So tip number 7 is to bring disinfectant wipes. with you. So Amtrak employees do not always have time to do a thorough cleaning of your room before you get into it. To me, it just makes me feel more comfortable. It just freshens up the room some, and I just feel like I can relax more. So tip 8 is to be sure to bring flip-flops to wear in the shower. So you're going to be sharing the shower with everybody else that is in your sleeper car. So you may just want to grab a pair of shoes to wear in the shower. Now, if you have your own bedroom, of course, that has the shower inside of it. When I've done that, I take my disinfectant wipes and I wipe down the shower floor really well. However, I have my flip-flops right outside the door, and I step immediately into my flip-flops and don't walk around my bedroom in bare feet. So tip 9 is to use the baby changing table in the bathroom as a shelf. So when I am getting ready in the mornings on the train, and I'll go to the bathroom, what I've learned to do is to pull down the baby changing table if there's one in the bathroom, and I'll wipe it down with the disinfectant wipe, and I'll put my makeup bag and my other toiletries up on that shelf because you don't always have enough room and the little counter space at the sink. So tip 10 is to be courteous in the Sightseer Lounge. So on a lot of the train routes, the Sightseer Lounge can get quite busy. But let's say if you're just sitting by yourself, like me, a solo traveler, and you decide to put your bag or your sweater in the seat next to you, if you see someone walk in and the lounge is crowded, pick up your purse, pick up your sweater, your jacket, so that that person can sit down. So tip 11 is to take advantage of the fresh air breaks. So now some people like to call them smoke breaks because they're smokers and they can't wait to get off the train to smoke a cigarette because you cannot smoke cigarettes on the train. Now, I always try to catch the fresh air breaks just to get off the train. Sometimes you're just walking up and down the platform a little bit. I like to take pictures when I'm off the train, if the station's right there, take pictures of the station, but be sure to make sure you ask your car attendant how long you have. Don't stray away too much from the train because once they call that all aboard, they're not going to wait for you to get back on the train. So tip 12 and my final tip is train delayed compensation. So you can expect for Amtrak to be late. Now, they're not always late. So if your train is more than 2 hours late, and that means whether it's picking you up or dropping you off, call Amtrak's customer service and let them know. They, a lot of times, will offer you some type of compensation. Usually it's a credit towards your next trip, but be sure to do that. I know I haven't used it myself. However, I have talked to several people that have used it, and they do get compensation for the train being late. Thank you for watching. This is Soloing Alone.